Welcome back. And of course, on Tuesdays, we definitely talk about parenting. And right now, we're talking about the art and outcome of family values. And discussing this with me today is Aderonke Fashiru, a seasoned professional dedicated to empowering individuals to become exceptional leaders. Aderonke has honed her expertise in soft skills development, focusing on etiquette, emotional intelligence, and leadership. She is the author of 2 influential books, The Leader in You and Poise for Beginners. Welcome back to Wake Up Nigeria.
Thank you so much.
It's amazing having you here.
Same here.
Yeah. Okay, so today we're talking about the art, right, of family values. So let me start by saying, what are family values?
Okay, thank you for having me again. Always a pleasure to be here. So family values are like a set of moral principles that guide the way a home should be run. And everything you do to build the harmony in the home, like organizations have core values that governs their attitude, behavior, process. It's the same thing with families, just making sure we have a set of tenets that all of us must follow, including dad and mom.
Including that, very, very important to mention that. Okay, so now what would you say that these values are literally intentionally set? You say, okay, fine, all of us, let's sit down. Father, mother, children, these are our values. This is how we'll follow them and all of that. This is what it means. Or, because I know a lot of people, I mean, people just leave.
Assume.
They just, in fact, it just happens, you get?
Okay.
Onto, okay, fine, a couple gets married, they start having kids, and then life just goes on, you get? They don't necessarily take the time out to actually set. So how would you say is best set?
Okay, so I want to refer you to the Asian continent. I think as far as family is concerned, we have a lot to learn from those people. They've refused to open up to innovations that come into family and break their values, break their ideologies. So what I think is the proper thing is for a couple, maybe at the time they're dating, part of the conversations they should have should be how we intend to raise our children. And those values must be established before the children are born.
True.
Before the children even come. If you build the values as they grow, then there's the likelihood of the environment having stronger influence and your values remaining in your home. So that's one. Number 2, the values must be clearly expressed. So I went to see a friend one day. Her name is Dolapo Oyeshino, and I got to her house and saw very, very, very boldly inscribed on the wall Oyeshino's core values. I mean, it meant a lot to me, about 17 things.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if her children just seem to do, toe the same line. And so it's, to answer your question, I would say it must never be assumed. We've got to be intentional about it. And just like they do routine maintenance for airplanes, there must be times where you open a bit, you explain a little more. So when a child is 10, you say, I didn't tell you this when you were 5 because of so, but this is why we do this. So it has to be periodic. It must be evaluated. There must be room for it to be updated so that the children have an impact and have an input in it as well.
Amazing. Okay, so now I'd like to ask for examples of these values, but let me not ask yet, right? Now let's talk about where these values should come from. Okay. So as you said, from the Asian community, I've watched a number of their movies, and like it is literally their backbone. So like they're so, and that's because it's been passed down from generations to generations.
Yes.
So would you say that is literally where it should come from, like from your parents and all of that? And then if you're in a situation where that wasn't necessarily so clear, how can you go about it?
Okay, so if it's fine with you, I'd like to use my family as an example. So I married into the Fashiru family, and they are big on family values. I mean, I didn't meet my father-in-law, but I can almost write a book about him because I see him in his children. Okay, so my husband has a number of men ahead of him, and those men are a replica of everything their father stood for. And I would say the matriarch of the family, their mom, I mean, you get into the Fashiru family and you just align. You don't struggle to fit in. You don't struggle to find your voice. You just align because there's a way things are done. There's a way the children are supposed to. So I'll share some of the values. One of it is honor. So in that family, they pride so much around honor. And it's not about who's older or who is first or who did this first. It's just important that you find yourself in a position of honor and you honor everybody around you. Honor around respect for other people, very, very important. So when we have gatherings, we are eager to see one another. We are eager to do something that will trip the next person because, I mean, it's just us. Another one is excellence. So they tell we the wives that there's a fashion brain, like we're privileged to be in that family.
I love it.
like you don't get surprised when you hear that one fashion is doing something else because the fashion blood is synonymous with excellence. So my children just understand that there's something about the name. I mean, I tell them this name will not break on your own account. We've been building the name up to this time. Yeah. So I would also say the worth of a good name is something that we hold dear. So it's important that the key makers, key stakeholders, I beg your pardon, in a family, father, mom, the children as they grow up, they discuss these things. So I feel family values enhances communication in the home, it enhances harmony, and it breaks societal values. One of the reasons why some certain orientations can't get into a particular place is because the family has taken their position.
Yes.
I personally believe the solution to our problem in Nigeria is fixing the families.
Of course, I know it said, like, family is the core unit.
Yeah.
Right? And when you see the society, you can literally tell where the issues are. Because once the family is right, definitely everyone is coming from a family. Do you understand? Now, I have to ask this question, which may actually seem quite, I don't know, sensitive, maybe, in your situation now. So we're talking about you getting married to a family that have their values in place. Now, what does that do to your own personal values?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so before I got into the family, I had my values. So I was looking for a situation where I wouldn't be starting everything entirely new. Okay. So I was looking to get into a place where aligning would just be helping me to become a better version of myself. Okay. And that was what I found getting into that family.
So it was kind of aligned, right?
Oh,
your values.
A lot.
Right.
The only challenge is those who are, the children born into fashion families, like a very tall order. Very tall order. So for you to fit in, I hear some of my nieces, my married, say to me, because I mean, there's a certain way. I'm an HR practitioner, and I know that there's something called a work personality. In our family, there's a fashion personality.
What you're saying is giving me so much joy. And okay, so now for people out there who are not used to these things, but they actually really want to cultivate these values and make them as core and with so much identity that we can match the name, right? How would you advise they go about that?
Okay, so thank you for that. I would say the last time, that tree beside your house, if you admire it so much, you didn't have a chance to be there when it was planted. But if you love it so much and you want to replicate, you have to do something now and stop wishing. So instead of wishing and hoping and assuming that the Messiah will come and fix the family, we've got to be intentional. We've got to be practical. So family values are so practical. They are tangible. Those values are intangible, but the act has to be tangible. So it's a good time to sit down and talk about it. Nobody should impose his or her personal values on another person. It has to be shared responsibility, shared values. Sit down and agree, this is what we think we should do. And once we agree, it has to be written down. Then we must create moments. So I like the aircraft space. And I like the fact that one of the reasons why we don't have frequent issues of crashes is because of the routine maintenance. Yeah, so I think families should also adopt a system of routine maintenance. Again, in fashion family, we have a practice of doing December together. And we don't just go there to eat. We go there to see that our ideologies are strengthened. So one child doesn't surprise us from anywhere. So I think it's important for families to sit down, create these things, and look for ways of updating it by allowing everybody to have an input into it.
So yes, now resting on that, is my next question. Now, talking about everyone having an input into it, right? Whose core responsibility would you say it is to uphold the family values? Mother or the father?
That's a very dicey question, and that's a challenge to the men out there. I would say if the men rise up to it, the job will be a lot easier. It's twice as difficult if it has to be the job of a woman. But if it has to be the job of a woman, then she might just try to look for creative ways, because the children that we are building are our children. It's his future and my future. If I assume he's not doing it and I feel, oh, let me do something else, I'm going to leave leave that future with him.
Very
so
true.
it's just important that we're humble enough to accept that this would help the family and we do it
Yes.
together.
All right, amazing. So one more time, one last time, give us examples of those core values which you think will actually help any family.
Okay, thank you so much. And so I would say, respect for people. It's important that as children start to express themselves, start to relate with one another, they understand that there's a need for respect. They don't assume respect will come. It's true that respect is reciprocal, but respect should start from you. I choose to say respect must start from me. So respect for people, that aligns a lot with the mental health issues, because you're thinking of somebody else instead of just saying how you feel. The way you say it is very important. So respect for people. I also want to say consistency. So over the weeks, I've fallen in love with discipline and consistency. I believe even if you have no talents, and you just decide to start a habit and you're disciplined, you do better than somebody
that has
with a bundle of talent. So I love discipline, I love consistency, and then I love people who have value for time. I don't respect people who just feel, let us just do it. When we get there, we'll cross it. I don't like that proverb or that statement. So I value people who understand that time is an asset. So value for time is important. And there should be a flavor of excellence. If it's not excellent, then forget about it.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
Amazing. As in, this session has literally been very revolutionary. And definitely, I implore all of you out there to try it out. Get your family values on check. This is very, very important. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So much for literally having this time with us. We literally have one more week, right?
Yes.
Yes, next week. And we'll definitely be seeing you next week.
Happy
Thank you
to
so
go.
much.
Thank you too.
All right. That's it right here for now. Still so much more happening right here on Wake Up Nigeria. Do not touch that dial. We'll be right back.